On this edition of Fulton Law and Justice, the Fulton County Courthouse dons a new look in 2017. We'll introduce you to the newest class of Superior Court judges now sworn to serve, and in our Children Our Future segment, juvenile court gives students who are no longer welcome at traditional and alternative schools another chance. I'm Jolene Butts-Freeman. Fulton Law and Justice begins right now. Welcome to Fulton Law and Justice, your inside look at the work of Fulton's justice partners. Today, we begin with the new look of the Fulton County Superior Court. For the first time in decades, 4 new judges take the bench at just about the same time in the same year. Justice correspondent Dante Carter explains.
Fulton Superior Court is the busiest trial court in the state. The court has 20 Superior Court judges, and almost a fourth of them were either newly elected or newly appointed in 2017. When Fulton County voters went to the polls in November of 2016, they chose 3 judges for the Fulton County Superior Court. And shortly after the vote, in preparation for their 2017 service, the new judges were each sworn into service.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Judge Belinda Edwards was sworn in first in Assembly Hall at the Fulton County Government Center. Judge Edwards replaced Judge Bensonetta Tipton Lane and had served as Chief Judge in Fulton County Juvenile Court.
I truly believe in justice and fairness, and everything is tempered with mercy. But I am grateful for the opportunity.
Judge Thomas Cox was sworn in next, also in Assembly Hall. Judge Cox replaced longtime Judge T. Jackson Bedford. Cox is a first-time judge.
What everybody should expect is justice and fairness. Those will be the driving bywords for me and my staff. I will also try to serve the citizens with courteous professionalism.
Hereby solemnly swear and affirm.
Judge Eric Dunaway was publicly sworn in early January. He replaced the Honorable Wendy Shue. Judge Dunaway also has legal ties to Fulton County as he was an assistant district attorney in the DA's office.
You know, I think the work I do on the bench is going to be real important, but the work I do out in the community, I'm going to touch some of our youth, trying to get them not to come through court, is going to be just as important.
Love justice, those of you who judge the earth.
And Judge Paige Whitaker, also a former deputy district attorney in Fulton County, was sworn in February. She was appointed by Governor Nathan Deal to replace Judge Jerry Baxter, who retired and assumed senior judge status.
We've got great lawyers on both sides of our criminal cases as well as the civil cases, and it's going to be a pleasure to preside in Fulton because the quality of lawyer is fantastic.
Now, once elected and appointed, the judges immediately began working on the behalf of the people of Fulton County. And you can find all of the profiles of the judges on the Fulton County Superior Court Administration website. For Fulton Law and Justice, I'm Dante Carter.
Thank you, Dante. When we come back, juvenile court leaps forward to help at-risk kids get the education they deserve. Juvenile Court's Our Children, Our Future segment is next. Welcome back to Fulton Law and Justice. Now, if you watch local news, then you have likely seen for yourself some of the challenges our youth face daily. While many young people are excelling in academics, sports, and community service, a number of others somehow find themselves in trouble at school and sometimes in trouble with the law. Now, what happens to those students who can no longer attend traditional public or alternative school? Well, that's the focus of our juvenile courts, Our Children, Our Future. Here's Thomas O'Connor.
Hi, I'm Thomas O'Connor, and thank you for joining us for our first edition of Our Children, Our Future, a program where we take a look at juvenile court and our programs for youth and families. Today, we'll be talking about the Leadership, Education, and Advancement Program. We call it LEAP for short, and it's a place where students expelled from their school can continue their education. LEAP students are taught by an accredited teacher, a career counselor, and a vocational education specialist in a state-of-the-art classroom. It's a truly unique program, Here to give us some more details is LEAP instructor Mr. Adeyemi Green. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So to get started, when a student joins LEAP, what's kind of the process for assessing their needs and getting them into the program?
Initially, the kids are given the TABE test, which is the test of adult basic education, and that determines their educational levels in reading and math. After that, they get into LEAP, and we have them take the GED practice test in all the 4 content areas. That includes reading, math, social studies, and language arts. And from there, we determine an individual plan, and we also provide whole group instruction.
And it sounds really comprehensive. I understand that you get children at all different levels of education. So in your experience, how is this kind of different from your typical classroom?
In a typical classroom, we don't have students that are mandated to attend. In the LEAP program, we have students that are mandated to attend based on their probation requirements. We also have a lot more support than when you would normally get in a traditional classroom. You have two instructors, you have a career counselor, and you also have a probation officer that provides additional support. So those resources help us maintain classroom behaviors better, and also just to provide an additional level of support to all the students.
So you have a tremendous amount of support. You're covering all the academic work. I understand you also get out in the community, do enrichment activities. Tell me about some of those. How do the kids react?
Recently we have taken all the kids to an orientation for an employment opportunity. We also go to the YMCA weekly to allow them to engage in recreational activities. Since typically during the week we only focus on academics, we want them to get out and interact and engage and just be children.
So it's more than just about learning. It's about kind of modeling behavior and being a good citizen. And speaking to that, how have the kids surprised you?
We have seen tremendous growth. In addition to the academic growth, last week we had a young lady who actually sat and took several sections of the GED and passed it. We've had a lot of behavioral growth. When the kids normally get into the program, initially their attendance is spotty, their behavior is inconsistent, and after a while, a couple of weeks, they start attending regularly, they start participating in class, and you see them transition from kids who you would expect to be on probation to more model behavior students.
That's wonderful, and so you really see a change over time.
Absolutely.
And we touched on it a little bit, but I imagine that when kids get into the program, there are some barriers you need to break down, attitudes, some bad habits. How do you go about getting through that and really getting them to learn?
So a lot of the students that come into the program, of course, they have behavioral issues. They've been either suspended long-term or expelled from their previous schools, and they don't like school. One of the key things that we do as a unit is we make sure that we build trust with the students. We make sure that we let the kids know that we're there to support them regardless of the issues that they may have faced previously. This is a new opportunity, your slate is clean, and we're going to do everything that we can to grow you and build you.
And what are kind of some of the consequences, say a student is tardy or hasn't been coming to class?
So we have a progressive disciplinary policy. We modeled it after the school system. So we have, verbal warnings. We have conferences with both the student and the parent. We also incorporate the use of the probation officer as well. And there are specific consequences related to their terms and conditions of probation.
And, with those students, we want every student to be successful. And the ones that graduate from the program, are they invited to come back, speak to those kids who are working through it?
Absolutely. And one of the things that we do with the students is just because you've completed the educational component and you may have obtained a job and you have employment, we still maintain and monitor and track you to make sure that everything is good. And we let our program be a resource in case you need any kind of support.
And could you take us through a typical day at the LEAP program? I'm curious.
Absolutely. So the kids come into the courthouse. 8:30 is our start time. That's when they come in and we have breakfast. We sit together and we eat together and we talk about what we're going to do. We ask them how they've been doing. At 9 o'clock we go upstairs to the classroom, they sign in, and we start instruction. From 9 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. we do instruction, and after that we wrap up, they clean up, and we go back downstairs and we have lunch. At that point, the youth are transported to the MARTA train station, and we provide them with round-trip MARTA passes so they can return the next day.
And so that's a typical day. Tell me about the school year. What does that look like?
So we have a cycle system. Basically, we have the kids come for 12 weeks, And in that 12 weeks, we cover all of the 4 content areas related specifically to the GED. We also provide them with employment opportunities. So our career coach, career counselor, takes them on interviews, preps them, and we just do our best to grow the kids as much as possible. Now, if they don't obtain their GED within that 12-week cycle, we let them stay for additional time until they get their GED, they get all the academic support they need, and they also obtain a job.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
And is there anything else you'd like to add that we left out?
You know, having taught in a traditional public school setting, this is one of the best educational environments for the demographic of students that we have. We really have a unique program that truly provides the support needed to help these kids overcome the barriers that they have faced and that they're still currently facing.
That's so good to hear. Mr. Green, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we'll hear how LEAP's community partners are doing their part to help save the futures of our young people. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Our Children, Our Future segment of Fulton Law and Justice. Today, we've been sharing what Fulton County Juvenile Court has been doing to try to provide educational opportunities for young people who are no longer permitted to attend traditional and alternative schools. The Leadership and Education Advancement Program, we call it LEAP, is how these youth can continue their education. Dr. Natalie Jackson, Program Manager at Paxson, one of the core partners behind LEAP, is with us. Dr. Jackson, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So for those of us who don't know, what is Paxson and how does it contribute to LEAP?
Well, we are the workforce development aspect of the Eckerd Foundation. I don't know if you're familiar with Eckerd drugstores.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
The husband and wife that began Eckerd drugstores, they started a foundation many years ago where they love helping communities and families. Their mantra is, giving people a second chance. And so we were really fortunate. We joined forces, Paxson joined forces with Eckerd about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And so we are the workforce development aspect of Eckerd, and that's how we all became a part of this particular this combination or this partnership. And what we bring to the LEAP program is we provide curriculum, we provide a little structure and some consulting, and also we provide the whole workforce ethic. So we help students get jobs. We help them if they want to go to certification programs or schools, not just GED, but life after GED.
That's wonderful, and I understand that you have a Paxson office in Cobb County that's been active for quite some time. Can you tell us about some of your successes there?
Yes, we are doing great things in Cobb. We've actually just recently changed some of the programming in Fulton to kind of mirror the model that we have in Cobb because it's been so successful. We, at this particular moment, we have obtained 47 GEDs that we're really proud about. And our students are getting jobs and going into certification programs in the military. So it's great to be able to mirror something that we know works. Our demographics are very similar, so that we know the program does work. And Paxson has been around for quite some time, so it's just a really awesome program that gives kids a second chance.
And with all this history, the LEAP program basically launched in September 2016. Mm-hmm. How has it kind of grown since that time and changed?
Well, when we first came in, we just kind of looked around and seen what was, already going on with the program. And so there's been a lot of restructuring. I like to tell the LEAP staff that this is the pilot year. So, in the pilot year, you're really kind of just finding out what works and what doesn't work.
Definitely.
And so we've made a couple of changes, and I feel like where we are now is really headed in the right direction. We are tweaking still some things, and so we're excited about the next fiscal year and what that has to bring. But as for right now, we're really in a good place. And like I said, we've grown because we've seen our kids' focus change. We've seen behaviors change. We've seen students really be excited about completing something.
Oh, that's great.
There wasn't an official start and stop time before. Now there is. And so even this morning, in being in the classroom and students saying, well, I won't be here in 30 days. I will have graduated in 30 days. That's something that in September and October we didn't hear. So kids are just really excited about the idea of gaining their GED and moving forward with their life.
That is so good to hear. And so You know, it sounds like you've really established the structure of the program is really operating well. What are your goals for the rest of the year for 2017?
Well, we just want to continue to tweak and see what works. In Marietta, we do our program. We do 6-week cycles because that's what works for our population. In Fulton, we started with 8-week cycles, and we've tweaked it, and now we see that 12-week cycles work best. And so we're just really trying to continue to find out what works great for this population, and continue to just hone in on that and just continue to improve and work with them. Of course, we're looking at GEDs because our students are really making some wonderful gains.
Oh, that's so good.
They're just growing in leaps and bounds. So we know we're about to get a bucket load of GEDs. We just feel them coming.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
You know, I heard you mention you had 47 GEDs out in
Yes,
Cobb.
yes.
Are any of the LEAP students preparing to take the GED exam? Have they taken practice exams?
Yes, and that's the wonderful thing is because now we're officially seeing growth, even on the practice exams. The state of Georgia has a couple of different rules for students who are under 18. And so the LEAP class, everyone in the class is actually under 18. So there's a couple of things that they have to meet, a couple of requirements. One is that they have to get a certain score on 2 parts of the practice test. But yeah, even with that though, it's been phenomenal because our students, they can see their growth and they're privy to how they're growing and they're so excited because when you come in the classroom, they want to share with you, I've moved up 5 points, I've moved up 7 points. You know, they're really excited. So we're looking forward to, like I said, we've got GEDs coming soon.
It sounds like it's going to be a really productive year, and it's just so good to hear about, you know, unlocking the potential of these students and really helping them excel.
Definitely.
You know, as we're wrapping up, do you have any close or final thoughts about the partnership and its future, how it's worked so far?
Definitely. We are just excited to be a part of it. Again, we know what the program, Paxton Eckert actually is just a wonderful organization. And like I said, it's being a part of this program really feeds into what we're all about. We're all about kids. We're all about second chances. We're all about giving people a second chance to be successful and to reach their dreams. And so we're really excited. We don't take this lightly. We take this very seriously, this partnership, and we want to make it last as long as it possibly will.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Dr. Jackson, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you are interested in learning more about the LEAP program, here is that information.
Thanks, Tom. We'll be right back to wrap up this edition of Fulton Law and Justice. Stay with us. Fulton County has committed itself to serving its residents in 6 priority areas. The strategic goal for Fulton's justice partners is making sure that all people are safe. Now on Fulton Law and Justice, we show you how Fulton's law enforcement and justice partners are doing that every day and how they serve and in the programs they provide to enhance the lives of all people, young and old. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Fulton Law and Justice. I'm Jolene Butts Freeman. We'll see you next time.